Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Meaningful Hearts podcast. And today I really want to talk about addiction. Are you addicted to something? I hope not. Maybe. I hope so. Depends on what it is, right? How do we classify addiction? What is the classification for what addiction is? Well, let's look at the actual the dictionary, right? Because that's going to give us the best example. The fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. So that can mean a lot of things. But now, since that can mean a lot of things, when we think addiction, what do we think about? What's the first thing that pops into our heads? We're like, drugs, alcohol, something that harms our bodies, right? Something that will hurt us in the long run. Something that will deteriorate our minds or our physical beings, right? Well, now it's up to our discretion to figure out what that is, right? Because sometimes we come home, we unwind, we have a couple of drinks, Friday night, we go out to the party, go out to a party, we go out to the bar, we get hammered, we come home, we eat some really greasy food, and then we go to sleep, we wake up and we do it all again the next day. And after the weekend's over, we go back to our lives as normal. Very common. We all drink. Well, a good portion of us do. A lot of Americans do. A lot of the world drinks. So are we addicted? Because it's something we do consistently, right? If you go out every weekend and you go out with your friends for happy hour, well, I mean, you do it consistently enough where you say, hey, I drink quite a lot. Now, some people say, well, that's an addiction. Some people don't drink at all, or sometimes people drink sometimes. Or maybe we do drugs on occasion. You go out, have a couple of drinks, do a couple lines of blow. I don't know, man. I'm not judging anyone. This is a free forum here. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this, right? So what is addiction? What if somebody doesn't drink? What if that's not their thing? What if maybe they come home from work and they binge watch for 8 hours after they get home from work? All they do is eat in front of the TV until they pass out. They do it the next day. They do it every single day, or every waking moment that they have, they spend it watching Netflix. Is that an addiction? Well, according to the dictionary definition, it is. So what does that mean? I mean, it's harmless TV, right? I mean, we're only just sitting there watching TV. It's entertainment. Is it harming me? Well, kind of. It's harming your chances of doing other things, maybe getting ahead. Maybe there's some things in your life that you haven't done yet, some accomplishments, or maybe some work, maybe that extracurricular thing that's going to get you out of the job that you're in and into a career. And you just keep putting it off because you keep spending your time in front of the TV. Well, that's a problem, right? Well, set that aside. Well, maybe you drink soda every day, or you eat ice cream every day, or you play video games for 8 hours a day, right? Those are all activities that have their own pros and cons. I like soda with my pizza. I like soda with certain things. I like soda with popcorn. But I try not to drink soda as often. But I do have an affinity to eat sweet things. Very bad. I mean, I do work out and I do take care of my body. But that doesn't mean that eating those things is going to help me get any better in my life, right? It's not going to, if I avoid those things completely, that'll be the better option. So here we are. I really want you guys to just take a step back for a moment, and I want you to analyze your day. Are there things that you do on a consistent basis? It doesn't have to be a substance. It could be anything. Is there something that you do that could be possibly harmful to you and your well-being? Like I said, I'm not talking about just inside your bodies. I'm not talking about, dangers of that type, but maybe dangers in your career, dangers in your betterment of self, right? Because what do we do on this show? What do we talk about? We talk about being better. Well, are there things in your life that actually draw you backwards? And it could be Netflix. Could be ice cream. Some people have weight issues and health issues, and they just can't kick the habit of eating sweets, or they can't kick the habit of eating burgers and fries. Listen, it's tough. I'm not saying it's not, but we really got to look at these things and say, well, I have an addiction. This is my addiction. How am I going to overcome this addiction? Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm fine with it and I'm just going to move on with my life. And whatever comes my way, comes my way. Now, it's a free country. You're free to do whatever you like. Maybe if you're not in this country, I believe that you should have the right to have the ability to make your own choices. Even if they're bad ones, you have the right to do that. You have the right to eat as much ice cream as you want or pizza, whatever. You have the right to do that. You're your own boss. But let's set aside for a moment. Now, I just described so many different things, right? I just talked about way more things than what we focus on when we say addiction. So I guess in a sense, maybe a good portion of us are addicts in our own ways. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Especially nowadays where we're so literal with everything and we analyze everything. So let's really start to look at that. What are we going to do? How are we going to change this? Well, Drew, to be honest with you, I'm kind of dumbfounded. You kind of caught me in my tracks here. Listen, I myself too battle every day with a lot of things. Now, knock on wood, I don't have a substance abuse problem that I know of. I did stop drinking coffee recently because although I love coffee and I have 1 cup a day, limit myself to 1 cup a day, that is an addiction. Even if it's one, it hits different, right? But I had to cut it out because it's not good for my digestive system and it causes a lot of acid reflux. There's certain things in my diet I had to cut out, and it sucks. And doesn't mean I've been a saint, but I have to be more understanding of the consequences of what this could do to me in the future. So I had to adjust. Nobody's saying to drastically change your life because, first of all, that will never happen overnight. Over time, you could make better choices, which lead to better choices, which lead to better things. But you have to take the step in that direction. It's not going to happen overnight, right? Of course it's not. And you're going to hate yourself if you drastically change. It's like saying, well, I went from eating, all this fast food and crazy stuff to now I'm just eating carrots and kale and water. You're never going to stick to that. And if you do, wow, that's a very slim chance, but no pun intended. But if you could stick to that, God bless you. But I'm talking practicality-wise, that's not going to happen because you're going to be craving these things. It's going to be constant. And you just pulled a complete turnaround. Now your body's going to be looking for that stuff. You got to slowly wean off of it. Make better decisions, drink more water, yeah. But you're not going to change it overnight. Change one thing a day. What you eat for breakfast or what you eat for lunch. Slowly change it. And also, one thing I would recommend on top of that would be to be physically active. That will make you want to eat better because you're going to need good fuel in order to go the distance with physical activity. I found myself eating better when I do physical activities and work out versus not. It's like you don't have a reason to because you really don't feel it because you're not actually pushing yourself to do anything. So your heart's not going to feel it. Your body's not going to feel bogged down as bad because you're not running, you're not lifting weight, you're not trying to push your body. So your body's not really going to notice it. But when you do, you get like, damn, I should be eating better. But they come hand in hand. So how are we going to change this addiction? Well, like I said, habits die hard, but it is the only way. But slow, planned habits. Now, if you're a drinker, I can't tell you to stop drinking. I can't. I like to have a couple of drinks here and there. It's part of my social thing, right? I go out, go up to the bar or go out to a club and, things are opening up again. So a lot of people have not had social interactions. So there's going to be time where you're going to need to get back into the swing of things. You're going to be going to weddings and parties and graduations and all this stuff, as well as going out to night spots and the clubs. That's fine. I get it. But maybe we want to take a little bit of be take a precautionary measure. I can't talk. I'm just stumbling upon my words. But maybe you want to take some precaution, right? Alcohol is not good for your body. Dehydrates you. It's bad for your digestive tract. It's very acidic. Does a lot of things that are not good. Bad for your liver. But it's fun. It's nice. Now, within reason. Nobody's asking you to drink a whole bottle of something and get so wasted that you can't remember your name. Bad. Just lighten it up a bit. Think about what you're doing. Because remember, when you drink, a lot of people make bad decisions on what they eat. Eating's bad when you drink. You want something greasy and nasty, and it's a whole lot of deliciousness, but it's bad for you. So I just want you to really just be cognitive about it, right? Cognizant. Did I say that right? I just want you to think about it. I just want you to think about it when you make a decision to do something. I want you to think about it when you're watching TV. I want you to think about it when you're sitting in front of your video game system. I can't stop you from doing any of these things. They're a lot of fun. And there's nothing wrong with breaking away from the monotony of work. And maybe that's your distraction for a half an hour. Nothing wrong with it. I just want you to keep a time limit on what you do and how you do it. If it's those types of activities, if you're drinking or you're doing other stuff, I want you to see it. I want you to actually be accountable for what you're doing. And I want you to kind of adjust. You're not going to be young forever. And maybe you'll change as you get older. Maybe you won't. But there's always consequences for the things that we do. Now, being an addict has the stigma of being, well, you spiraled out of control and, you're on the verge of dying or you just can't live a normal life because you just think about the substance all the time or you think about whatever. Now, yes, those are extreme situations, right? Where you have a serious problem. But you could be a functioning addict too that doesn't think it's a big problem or a big deal, but it can become a big deal. So I just want you guys to really look at these things. I want you to look at what you're doing in your life and how you could better it, right? It's like doing repairs on a house. You're inside there, you're just taking notice of the cracks in the walls, or maybe a shelf is broken, or maybe there's some new paint that needs to go on in the living room or in the kitchen. We're always fixing these things, right? We're looking at our cars, we're cleaning our cars, bringing a car to the car wash, right? But who takes care of us? The only person that's going to take care of you is yourself. So what do you have to do? You have to do the same thing. How am I looking? How am I feeling? Yeah, when was the last time I went to the doctor to get myself checked out? Maybe, I eat too much of this. I got to stop doing that. Do these things. Understand that all these tangible items that we spend so much time maintaining, they're shit. They're going to deteriorate. They're going to break. They're going to fall apart. They could be replaced. We'll buy them later. We sell houses all the time. We change your car. We buy new clothes. Man, if you could change yourself every few, years and just take a leg off, put a new leg on, listen, that'd be awesome. We could live forever, but we're not going to live forever. So we want to make an impact and we want to do something great with our lives. So in essence, addiction is a lot bigger of a spectrum than we initially thought. And I want you to be understanding of this. There's a lot of words that get played around. Alcohol was prohibition. Everybody talked badly about alcohol. But now that prohibition has ended for probably over 100 years or more, it's okay to drink alcohol and it's advertised at baseball games. And now it's a family-friendly thing. But it's still the same product. And it still does have things that could possibly put you in trouble. And it's just the way things are worded. Things are sold to you in a certain manner. Watch Netflix. Watch this show. Watch this. Watch that. People spend more time watching TV, I believe, than they ever have because they can hoard all their shows to an opportune moment where they can watch all of them. It's crazy. It's overwhelming where you could just literally say, well, I haven't watched it. I'm going to make a list of things I want to watch. Next thing you know, you have like 25 hours worth of entertainment. And you can literally just binge and binge and binge. You just keep adding and adding and adding. It's like a rabbit hole you'll keep going down. So in essence, that became a new thing. The way that we're consuming information is instant. We have mobile devices that we can do this on. We have YouTube subscriptions that we watch a whole ton of stuff. YouTube is great, but it can also be a rabbit hole of things that really just don't help us. So I'm going to stop my rambling now because I know you're like, all right, Drew, I get it. I'm an addict. Well, maybe you are, maybe you're not. I'm not, like I said, I'm not making judgment calls on anyone. I love you all. I want you to know that I want the best for everyone. And that's all I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to be better. I'm going to learn from you guys. You guys are going to learn from me and vice like that. This is what I'm trying to do. Build a community. We're going to hold each other accountable. I want us to post pictures of ourselves being better than yesterday. And I want us to have these great conversations. And maybe, like I said, people want to start a podcast and talk about things and we could join and become better. It's one person at a time. It's one episode at a time. We're going to talk about these subjects and we're going to dig into them. Maybe things that we don't really look at in a certain way. I want to put it under the microscope, but I really want to discuss it because there's so much out there that we overlook because it's acceptable. You know, it's acceptable to be this, or it's acceptable to be that. It's not. If you want to be better, it's not. If you want to be just basic and you want to just hide, keep doing what you're doing, eat those Cheetos, drink that alcohol, and, you know, fall asleep in front of the couch after work every day. But if you want to do more with your life, you have to be proactive about what you put in front of you, what's in front of your plate, what's in your glass, what your eyes see, all these things. Everything in moderation is okay. But for the bigger picture, you gotta really be diving in. You have to dive in head first and really see what's going on in your life. And you have to keep a tight rope around it, like a bundle of sticks. And those are your beliefs. You add good things into that little bundle until it becomes bigger. But don't undo it. Keep a strong grip on that. I want you to really have a good footing on your life and stay with that. And don't settle for less. Always push to go further and further and further. That's all I'm going to say. I love you all. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I will catch you on another one. Good night.